The Somme battle was a part of World War I and took place from July to November in the year 1916. Before the battle took place, the Allied powers met in Chantilly in December 1915. At the meeting, the Allies decided that they had to launch simultaneous attacks to overwhelm German defenses. They decided that British and French troops would attack the Western Front, while the Italians attacked the southern fronts, and Russia attacking from the east. The Germans turned and launched their Verdun offense at the French on February 21st. This caused General Joseph Joffre, the commanding general of the French army, to back out of the original plan that was decided at the meeting in Chantilly. The French front was slowly shrinking. It originally had 39 divisions attacking along a 25-mile front, which shrunk to 30 divisions along 15 miles in April, and then down to 12 divisions along 10 miles. Though the French army became drastically smaller, it did allow their artillery to be much more effective and powerful by being closer together. In the meantime, the British were becoming very concerned. Their ally was being attacked, and in the past, the British forces always had a navy to fight with. But for once, British units were going to be grounded on the continent. They began to recruit and train a massive army in England. General Douglas Haig committed 400,000 troops, most of them being volunteers, and 14,000 artillery guns for a hoping breakthrough against the Germans. With the British having such a large army, they outnumbered the Germans. However, the route that General Haig chose was rural and undeveloped. This meant that railways and roads had to be constructed in order for supplies to be sent to troops. This slowed and distracted vital planning and training time for the new and experienced British soldiers. The British took the front line at Thiepval Wood in the Somme area to help relieve some of the pressure on French troops at Verdun. On July 1st at 7:30 in the morning, the British set off 4 mines packed with TNT that were set directly under German frontline trenches. After the blast, a signal was given and the British and French forces moved towards the enemy lines. The British had some of their units very close to German lines when the blast went off. These troops had snuck up in the darkness the night before and were very successful as they caught the German soldiers running frantically out of the bunkers. On the other hand, the advancing British units were not so lucky and were pushed back as machine gun fire and artillery guns fired upon them. In the meantime, the French were having better luck. More experienced, battle-hardened French troops were much more successful during the day, but had to stop and hold their position since their ally was not doing as well. Thousands of troops died in the first 15 minutes of the battle. Generals Paul von Hindenburg and Erich Friedrich, commanders of the German army, had their German troops fall back to a previously prepared line of fortification and trenches known as the Hindenburg Line. The Allies had taken control of the Somme River and Verdun. This was a big turning point in the war. The battle came at a cost. Allied troops had a total of about 600,000 casualties, with 2/3 of them being British. Of those 2/3, 38,000 were injured and 20,000 were killed on the first day of the battle. It was the bloodiest single day in British military history. In the end, with the help of the new British tank, the Allies had gained 125 square miles of territory. 420,000 British, 200,000 French, and 450,000 German soldiers had dedicated their lives in the Battle of the Somme, and the area was completely destroyed.